So if you're going to solve by factoring, the way that you would do this is you need to rewrite your expression in the form that this is given. So use rational powers and use negative powers. Don't show your fractions on this. I don't want, or don't show a complex fraction. And so even though this power of negative 1/2 represents a complex fraction, don't show it. Just use the negative and rational powers. And once you do that, what you should be able to see is it fits this pattern of you have common factors. These two groups of factors. Between these two groups, what base is common to both sets? The x plus 4 is, right? So we're going to remove that common base. Whenever you remove a factor, you always take out the lowest power. So what's lower, 1/2 or negative 1/2? Remember, negatives are further to the left on the number line than the positives. So we're going to take out this power of negative 1/2. And then what's left inside these grouping symbols? It's consistent with what I've said since we first started factoring, and that is, after you remove a common factor, whatever's left is always going to have the same form as the original. The original is one group minus the second group. So you're still looking at that form to be left inside the grouping symbols. Okay, so now we go back and see what remains. Well, factoring out is the process of division. So when you divide by a negative power, or by any power, what do you do with their powers? When you divide exponents, their powers are, when you divide two exponents with the same base, you do what with their powers? Subtract. So we're going to subtract this power of minus 1/2. Well, what happens when you subtract a negative? It's equivalent to adding the opposite. So what's really going to be left in this first group? X plus 4 to the 1/2 plus 1/2, or first. So it's just the expression x plus 4. Okay, in the second group, we're going to subtract a power of minus 1/2, add the opposite. So negative 1/2 plus 1/2 is 0. So we factored out that whole thing, leaving just the factors negative 2x. Okay, that's all over x plus 4. Nothing's going to happen to that factor. Okay, so this is the process of factoring. Once you've factored it, you're then going to rewrite everything without using negative powers. So here, this negative power is going to get, since it's a factor, it's being multiplied by this whole group, we can now move it to the denominator. So it becomes x plus 4 to the positive 1/2. And then we just simplify our fraction here. X minus 2x is negative x plus 4. And then in the denominator, we have this common factor, or common base of x plus 4. So we're going to, when we multiply it, we add their powers. 1 plus 1/2 gives us 3/2. So once again, you do need to go back, double check, make sure you've taken care of any domain restrictions that aren't apparent in this simplified form, and there are none. So this is your solution, which is the same as the last thing.